from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast.
Coming up on Ag Day, world leaders gather to discuss the global economy and trade, plus meet a top producer finalist from North Carolina. In agribusiness, making money in 2018.
We have seen the overall expansion supply here in the U.S. be supported and help support prices because of that global growth situation.
And the grocery store of the future may not need a checkout line.
Ag Day, brought to you by the Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Global trade takes center stage this week as chief executives gather in Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. And at the same time, negotiators go head-to-head in Montreal over the North American Free Trade Agreement, and the 11 remaining nations in the Trans-Pacific Partnership forge a new deal. We begin in Davos, where leaders from 60 nations and even more economists gather for an outlook of the world economy. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave the keynote opening address. While not directly mentioning President Trump, Modi issued a warning against protectionism and trade policies being instituted by the U.S. Modi delivering the warning just hours after the Trump administration approved tariffs on imported solar energy panels from China in a bid to help U.S. manufacturers. Now, most imported solar modules will face an immediate tariff of 30%, with the rate declining before phasing out after 4 years. Now, China accusing the president of jeopardizing the multilateral trading system by taking action on complaints under U.S. law instead of through the World Trade Organization. As the AP's Peter Bander reports, the U.S. solar industry is split over the trade barriers.
The number of jobs in the solar industry has boomed since 2010. Falling prices of panels, thanks in part to cheap imports from China, has made solar power more competitive with electricity generated from coal and natural gas. Installation companies such as Namaste Solar in Boulder, Colorado, are fearful that proposed tariffs on panels from China could hurt their industry because it would drive up the cost of new systems.
If those tariffs are high enough, we could see the loss of tens of thousands of downstream solar jobs in the name of protecting a few hundred jobs.
A green technology research firm estimates that tariffs could cost up to 88,000 U.S. jobs.
People on rooftops installing these solar panels, people selling and designing the solar systems.
But while business has been good on the installation side, U.S. solar manufacturers see it differently. Suniva Incorporated, a subsidiary of a Chinese company, and Solar World Americas, a subsidiary of a German company, say cheap imports have hurt business. Suniva declared bankruptcy last year. Both filed a complaint with the U.S. International Trade Commission, which recommended tariffs of up to 35%.
We've seen before, when tariffs were first imposed on China, there were dire predictions that 50,000 jobs would be lost in the United States. Instead, the opposite occurred. Solar technology continued to develop, solar installations kept growing, demand kept growing, and solar jobs kept increasing as well.
Peter Banda, Associated Press, Boulder, Colorado.
Also at Davos, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Canada and 10 other countries of the Trans-Pacific Partnership have agreed to a revised trade agreement now known as TPP-11. The deal comes exactly 1 year after President Trump withdrew his country from the agreement. Now, the agreement follows 2 days of high-level talks in Tokyo. Partners hope to sign the pact by March. Trudeau telling a crowd at the World Economic Forum that the trade deal meets Canada's objectives of creating and sustaining growth, prosperity, and well-paying middle-class jobs. The TPP agreement comes amid worries that Trump will pull the U.S. out of the North American Free Trade Deal. The NAFTA talks are now underway in Montreal, are scheduled to last until Monday, when the top trade officials from the 3 countries are scheduled to meet. Bloomberg News reports that the U.S. and Canada agree on 40% of the topics being negotiated. Mexico says negotiators are close on 30%. Mike Hoffman joins us now for a look at the winter storm that moved through the Midwest in today's Crop Comments. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Clinton. Heavy snow and strong winds pushed across the Midwest this week, prompting highway closings in Kansas and South Dakota, school cancellations in Minnesota, and grounding flights. In Minnesota, Governor Mark Dayton called out the National Guard to help stranded motorists. The National Weather Service said up to 17 inches of snow fell near Owatonna. And taking a look at the wind speed forecast, it's still going to be kind of windy in the northeast as we start the day today, as well as the higher elevations across the northwestern portions of the country. The winds increase out west, decrease in the northeast, and as we head into the day tomorrow, the winds really decrease along the east coast, and we'll begin to see a little bit of a breeze into the center of the country. But the majority is still going to be from Oklahoma and Kansas back through the western states. We'll have your forecast coming up. First, here are some hometown temps.
Ag Day, brought to you by Top Third Ag Marketing. Farmer first with a plan for every market.
Top Producer Seminar kicks off in Chicago later today, and tonight our corporate cousins will be awarding the Top Producer of the Year. They've chosen 3 finalists for the honor. Today, we introduce you to the second of those 3, Frank Howie from Monroe, North Carolina.
Hungry cows make their way to Frank Howie's truck, a daily task for this North Carolina farmer who is anything but routine.
One of my nicknames from some of my competitors is that I'm all in. So I'm always looking to make things better and grow the operation.
That may be an understatement.
Yep, they're loading.
The Monroe farmer is the definition of self-made, growing his operation from the ground up along with his wife and business partner, Allison.
I thought, yeah, fell in love with this farmer and I'm going to have a nice, quiet, peaceful life in the country. And as they say, the joke was on me. It's full time, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Both eventually creating Frank Howie Family Farms. 30,000 acres of wheat, soybeans, corn, cattle, timber, and solar. Most of it owned outright.
When we first got married, he said, honey, this is where I want to take this operation. And I said, okay, this is your vision, this is your dream. If it's important to you, it's important to me, and I got on board.
Frank's vision really took off at 16 years old when he leased 10 acres of land. At 18, he purchased his first farm, this farm. He's grown acre-wise every year since, during good times and bad.
I kind of see bad times as opportunities to be creative and continue to grow, but grow smart, not to be growing just to be growing. It has to make sense.
Frank has added new facilities as he's grown, including ones he can use no matter the weather.
So it's frantic to get the corn out, and we have a high capacity dryer. We can dry 50,000 to 60,000 bushels, taking out 10 points of moisture in 24 hours.
And new technology continues to change the way he farms and makes decisions, even monitoring equipment and employees to help make incentive allocations.
We give bonuses, performance bonuses. That really seems to excite people.
Yet this rural entrepreneur is facing urban sprawl. Charlotte is close and getting closer.
Union County, North Carolina is one of the fastest growing counties in the nation.
As the city moves to the country, farms are in the path of progress. They've been able to sell and build back acreage using a 1031 exchange.
And if I haven't been creative and expanded, we'd have basically been just surrounded by houses here and wouldn't be a viable farming operation. We turned something that some people would have seen as a curse, but we've turned it into a blessing.
At the same time, the family put conservation easement on the land too, as a way to preserve farmland now and for the future.
And so that's another way we've been able to grow the operation while protecting land for forever. This isn't for 100 years, it's forever.
Because the farmer whose growth is anything but standard still wants to be a conventional farmer. So the next generation and the generation after will have the opportunities to feed success in their own futures. Congratulations to Frank Howie Family Farms, a finalist for Top Producer of the Year.
All right, when we come back, we'll look at who's making money in agriculture right now and what the opportunities look like for 2018. And later, pick up and walk out. Amazon wants to change the way we shop for things like groceries. Details on In the Country. Agribusiness, it was another mixed day for commodity markets. Let's get those details now from the floor of the CME.
The soybean market traded both sides of unchanged here on Tuesday, but has been generally strong here since the January 12th USDA report. Since bottoming on report day, this bean market's rallied a good 40 cents. There are a few reasons for the rally. I think one of them is weather. There are some weather concerns in Argentina. It's been very dry in the central and southern portions of the country, and some people believe that crop estimates will continue to fall. And we've seen a little bit of that here recently, and I believe that we may see some more of that here over the coming weeks. The live cattle market traded both sides of unchanged, but was generally a little bit firmer here on Tuesday. We had a nice strong start to the week on Monday. On Friday afternoon, after the futures markets closed, we saw a cash cattle trade that came in quite a bit better than expected. So immediately on Monday morning, we saw a stronger trade, and that translated into a little bit of follow-through buying here on Tuesday. But again, we did trade both sides of unchanged. I think that weather is an issue. We've had some severe winter weather across a lot of the western part of the country, and that's something that could potentially stop or eliminate some cattle from the market this week. So that's something that could firm the cash market short term, but long term probably doesn't change a whole lot. Again, Joe Vick from CME Group here in Chicago.
Here at the Agribusiness Desk today, we have Doug Whirling, Bauer Trader. Doug, as we start to look at the overall ag economy, a lot of it is divided out by sector. Livestock seems to be holding pretty well. Grains have had a tough couple of years. What does 2018 mean for, I guess, the sector as a whole, and can we make any money here?
Well, when you're talking about livestock specifically in cattle, feeder cattle, fat cattle, obviously we've seen our feed demand increase.
Sure.
That crop report showed us we're feeding less wheat, we're feeding more corn, and that's a no-brainer. It's cheaper.
Right.
Okay, and it's a better tool to make them larger. Now, what we've seen is we've seen expansion over the past year, especially in the cattle market, but it's been warranted because we opened up an export market to China that we have not had in a very long time, and we reestablished the communication with Japan. And so we have seen the overall expansion supply here in the U.S. be supported and help support prices because of that global growth situation. And once you get a taste for that, you have more money, you're not going to go back on it.
Right.
That's the one bright point. That's a broad paintbrush across it. I understand it's not the day-to-day operations, but that's why sell-offs are supported, and you have overall domestic and global interest in there.
Yeah, interesting. So as we look at grains on the flip side of that, I guess the other side of that is, can we get enough demand either from livestock or elsewhere to help support prices and have them go up?
It's there. It just takes a lot longer than everybody wants. So if you have no problems this year in the U.S. or anywhere in the world, by the end of 2018, we'll be in a pretty good spot. It's not like we're going to be substantially higher in price, but we'll be in a lot better spot and a lot better going into 2019 if you're specifically talking about those three grains. You're going to see more diversification outside the Corn Belt this year than we've seen over the years in the past.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back with more Ag Day right after this.
For a free 2-week trial to Jim's daily global market ladder, call Bauer Trading toll free at 1-800-533-8045. One dream, 2 prizes, 3 fields. Show us your farm and you could win a $10,000 donation for your community, plus a dream sports trip for you. To enter, visit powertodomore.com. Sponsored by Resicor Herbicide.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Your meteorologist Mike Hoffman as we look at the root zone moisture map. And Mike, to the north, you can see they've been getting some moisture, but in the southern plains, still dry.
Yeah, and you pointed out the winter wheat could use a little bit of moisture in those areas, so we'll have to kind of watch that. Other than that, we're also watching the dryness in the mid-Atlantic states down into parts of the southeast. It's also wet up across the central and northern portions of the Great Lakes at the moment. But northern areas, we still have a ways to go before we really get into the major field work season. Here's the weather map today. Not a lot going on between the coasts. Still some lingering snow in the northeast, maybe just a touch here and there, lake effect in the eastern Great Lakes. And the next storm system coming in, it's a pretty strong one. It's putting down some pretty good rains and mountain snows in the Pacific Northwest all the way down into northern California. Heading through the day, you can see the rain moves into central California there. Rain and snow continues to push eastward across the northern Rockies. Weak little system causing some flurries in the northwestern Great Lakes by later on today. And then as we head through tonight and into the first part of the day tomorrow, we're still looking at a few flurries, couple of spots in the Great Lakes. First system coming across the central Rockies, second one lurking offshore, and so it's still going to be kind of a stormy weather pattern for the West Coast as we head through the rest of this week. The way it looks by later in the day tomorrow, you can see that next system approaching with some rain and mountain snows once again. All right, take a look at precipitation estimates over the past 24 hours. Like I said, the Northeast and the Northwest have seen the most. Southeast Florida also had just a little bit over the past 24 hours, but adding in the next 36 hours, we're not going to add much at all in the eastern two-thirds of the country, but we are going to add a lot of moisture. You can see some of these are huge amounts with some of that 3 or more inches of rain or melted snow in the areas from central California all the way up the coast into western Washington. Snowfall then past 24 hours, northeast, northwest also. Adding in the next 36 hours, we'll add on just a touch in parts of the Great Lakes, but we're going to add a lot of snow, some of the higher elevations out west. Taking a look at high temperatures this afternoon, 50s, kind of on the cool side, southern plains into the southeast. These are mild temperatures for the northern plains, 20s and even low 30s for highs. Lows tonight, single digits, northern Great Lakes, northern New England. Otherwise, temperatures are not bad for this time of the year, although still chilly in the southeast. Those numbers are chilly for you folks, and kind of a similar idea as we head through the day tomorrow. Here's the jet stream, kind of interesting. We have the one trough moving away. The ridge moves in for a warm-up. Another quick shot of chilly air as we head into early next week. And then the ridge comes in. I think this is going to be the trough that will bring all the cold air back to the east. That will come in about a week and a half. That's a look across the country. Now let's take a look at some local forecasts. Taking a look at Bakersfield, California, mostly cloudy and mild, high temperature of 65 degrees. Hastings, Nebraska, a good deal of sunshine and on the cool side, high of 43. And Lafayette, Indiana, a mixture of clouds and sunshine and cold, high of 32.
Up next, we'll check in on citrus sales with the folks over at the Packer. And later, cashiers beware, this store of the future looks to eliminate that step during grocery shopping. Details on In the Country.
Ag Day, brought to you by Liberty Herbicide, the simply better solution for superior weed control and a stronger yield.
From the editors at the Packer, citrus producers expecting good demand for fruit this season. California is currently shipping oranges, mandarins, and lemons. Texas is shipping oranges and grapefruit, and Florida mainly grapefruit and juice oranges. Well, marketers say California citrus has great quality this year, but the navel orange and lemon crops are forecast to be smaller. Now, on the grapefruit side of things, Texas is making up for losses in Florida following Hurricane Irma. It's estimated that Irma caused at least $760 million in losses to the Florida citrus industry. The U.S. Supreme Court this week ruling that federal district courts, not the Federal Court of Appeals, have jurisdiction to review that 2015 Waters of the U.S. rule. The decision, according to the American Farm Bureau Federation, brings greater clarity to an issue that has been bogged down in litigation for years. Now, AFBF says the Sixth Circuit must soon lift its nationwide stay of that 2015 rule. And the administration is currently reworking a rule, but is yet to finalize the proposal to delay that 2015 WOTUS rule. All right, the future of grocery shopping may mean not having to check out. The details next.
In the Country, sponsored by Kubota. Tractors, hay tools, utility vehicles, mowers, and more. Visit Kubota.com today.
E-commerce giant Amazon continues to come up with new ways to change the way we shop. The company opening its first store that does not use cashiers or a checkout. A shopper downloads an app before going inside. They scan their smartphone to enter, pick the items, and walk out the door. Between computer vision, algorithms, and sensors, the system charges your Amazon account.
I mean, just being able to walk out and not interact with anyone was amazing.
The store in Seattle is only 1,800 square feet. Now, it offers grocery staples like milk and bread. It also has meal kits and plenty of grab-and-go items like produce. If someone puts an item back, they are not charged. Amazon has been testing this concept since December of 2016, but only for company employees. It's now open to the public. And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. Start your day with us. From all of us here at Ag Day, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
Ag Day, brought to you by Ram Commercial, America's longest lasting heavy-duty pickups.